Every story you've ever heard about vampires, werewolves, or aliens is the system assimilating some program that's doing something they're not supposed to be doing.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel where I cover vampires, werewolves, and other supernatural creatures. In this video we're going to be looking at something a little different, The Matrix. This is one of my favorite film series and I've stumbled across this topic a few times, and after seeing a video by Fact Fiend talking about it, I really wanted to dive into this subject. Is there vampires and werewolves in The Matrix? Well, it's kind of a complicated question, so let's not waste any time and get into the video. Let's start off with the supposed vampires and werewolves from The Matrix. In the second film, Matrix Reloaded, Neo meets a very old program named the Merovingian. He is very powerful and has many bodyguards and men loyal to him. Some of these henchmen are thought to be vampires. There's also a character that many believe to be a werewolf. Some people have speculated that many of the people in the Merovingian's nightclub could be vampires as well, especially the guards that are able to walk on the roof, something vampires have been known to do. Let's rewind for a second and talk about the Matrix itself to establish how this could even be possible. The Matrix is an almost perfect recreation of the 1990s based on the machine's interpretation of it through our surviving records, movies, books, and so on. This is the version of the Matrix we see in the movies. However, there was two versions of the Matrix that existed before. Agent Smith talks about one of these versions, saying it was a paradise. However, because it was too dreamlike, people began to reject it, resulting in a massive failure. This was the first Matrix, nicknamed the Paradise Matrix. Now, since there's a Paradise Matrix, many theorize that the second version was the opposite, nicknamed the Nightmare Matrix. It was probably given this name by fans because the architect himself, the creator of the Matrix, described the second version as a nightmare, ruled by fear to better extract the energy the machines need. It's possible this version may have included vampires, werewolves, ghosts, and many other supernaturals, again based on our own films, literature, and history. When the architect is talking about the second Matrix, we see all the screens around him playing all of humanity's worst moments. Things humans have been proven to be scared of. Same with ghosts or phantoms. The twins that can take on a spectral ghost form were the agents in the second Matrix. It makes sense that the machines would try the complete opposite of the Paradise Matrix after it failed.
That sounds exactly like the thinking of a machine to me.
This second Nightmare version must have ultimately been a failure too, because we're now onto the newest version of the Matrix seen in the movies. A reality where there's both good and bad, and the most important feature, choice. Although Neo and the movies take place in the newest version of the Matrix, the Merovingian and his henchmen are actually programs from a previous version, the Nightmare Matrix. This explains why they're able to do things that others can't, and why they're so hard to kill because of their unique code. This makes them great bodyguards, which is probably why the Merovingian keeps them around. According to the Oracle, the Merovingian is one of the oldest programs. He worked hand in hand with the architect in the second Matrix, hence the Merovingian's obsession with cause and effect. This was the basis for that Matrix, whereas choice is the base for the new Matrix. When the third and newest Matrix was made, the Merovingian was replaced by the Oracle, and her idea to give people choice is what created the most stable version of the Matrix so far. I mean, other than the fact that they need to reset it every time Neo finds Trinity, but that's another story. Since the Oracle replaced the Merovingian, that would explain why he wants to kill her in the films. Or at least take her eyes. In The Matrix Reloaded, the Oracle says this to Neo. Every time you hear someone say they saw a ghost or an angel, every story you've heard about vampires, werewolves, or aliens, it's the system trying to assimilate some program doing something they're not supposed to be doing. So basically, glitches or abnormalities in the Matrix are integrated into human folklore and superstition. That way, if a human does experience an anomaly, they won't question their reality like Neo. Instead, they will just chalk it up to an alien, ghost, vampire, etc. However, that doesn't mean these things don't exist for real in the other Matrix. Look at Seraph, for example. He is from the first Paradise Matrix and is most likely an angel. He was the equivalent to an agent for the first Matrix. His code glows a special color when Neo looks at it. And of course, his name is Seraph, like Seraphim, which is a type of angel. There's also one point where the Merovingian's bodyguards refer to him as wingless. So if an angel from the first Matrix is still around, I don't see why a vampire, werewolf, or ghost from the Nightmare Matrix couldn't be here as well. So how did these programs cross over into the new Matrix? When a program is no longer needed, they are sent to the mainframe for deletion. But some programs go rogue and exist in hiding instead. They are referred to as exiles. This is the case for the Merovingian and his henchmen. They also specialize in helping other programs escape deletion using the Train Man, a mysterious program that has its own mini matrix like a pocket dimension. It's been theorized that since the Train Man is able to create a construct just like the Matrix, he might have been the original architect but was replaced like the Merovingian. I'm almost positive that it's his abilities that allowed these old programs to move into the new Matrix. They even appear in the fourth and newest Matrix film, which we're going to ignore. This is what I wanted to happen to me after I watched that movie.
Sorry.
So that's where the supposed vampires and werewolves came from, a previous version of the Matrix. In the third film, Revolutions, when Neo fights the supposed vampires, they have superhuman strength and agility, similar to him even though they're not agents. They don't have fangs or any outright vampiric traits, other than being pale and dressing like they're from Blade. But a lot of people in the Matrix do that. I think it's possible the Blade movies had some influence on the Matrix and is possibly why these vampires appeared in the movie. Now that we've established where these vampires came from, we can talk about what most consider to be the smoking gun of this theory. The Merovingian is betrayed by his lover Persephone and she helps Neo for the price of a kiss. Persephone then takes them to a door and inside it looks like a closet. Then she uses a special key and when she opens the door again, it's a beautiful chateau. She leads them inside and they meet two men, Cain and Abel. Persephone says they come from a much older version of the Matrix, but like so many back then, they caused more problems than they solved. My husband saved them because they are notoriously difficult to terminate.
How many people keep silver bullets in their gun?
She then shoots Abel in the head with a silver bullet, killing him. A lot of people think this guy must have been a werewolf since you need a silver bullet to kill him. Although weakness to silver bounces back and forth between werewolves and vampires, so it's very possible this bodyguard is a vampire. Another detail of this scene that adds to this theory is what's on the television. The guy that's apparently a vampire or werewolf is watching the Hammer film Brides of Dracula. Seems like that's definitely a hint. It's very possible that these programs looked different and had different abilities in the other Matrix if the code was different. It might have allowed them to do things they can't do in this Matrix, like transform into a werewolf. But they do maintain some abilities like being stronger, not aging, and being harder to kill.
Just like new. Drop your weapon.
It's not clear if all programs age within the Matrix, but we do see this program have a child, and then we see her grown up in the fourth Matrix, which I did say we weren't going to mention, but whatever. It would make sense to have programs that age though, that way they can integrate into normal society.
Here we go. We're in.
Now let's step into the world of the Matrix video games for a second. In the movies, the idea of vampires is only implied, never outright stated. However, in the video games, it's a different story. The game Enter the Matrix was developed alongside most of the people who worked on the film Matrix Reloaded, so the two are very closely connected. So much so that in order to get the full story of the Matrix Reloaded, you need to play this game. The video game Enter the Matrix was actually created and written by the Wachowskis, who also created the films. They even recorded live action scenes for the game that are a direct extension of the movie Matrix Reloaded. It shows what Niobe and Ghost were doing, including Niobe's meeting with the Oracle that we hear about in the films but never see. So as you can see, the game and the film are very closely linked. And in the game Enter the Matrix, there is confirmed vampires and werewolves. Cain and Abel from the film even make an appearance, as well as a vampire Vlad and werewolf Cujo. Niobe even kills Vlad with a wooden stake to the heart. The story behind the vampires in this game is the same as the film. They are exiled programs from a previous version of the Matrix, and they all work for the Merovingian.
The Matrix Online.
Are you with us or against us?
Another game that includes these creatures is The Matrix Online from 2005. This game was meant to be a continuation of the storyline from the movies, and the Wachowskis gave their blessing to the game. Again, in this game, vampires are 100% confirmed. They are exiled programs from a previous version of the Matrix that feed on blood in order to survive. Well, more accurately, they feed on the code in blood. In Matrix Online, they are usually referred to as blood drinkers or vamps. Like I said before, I think it's very possible that the Blade films and the popularity of vampires in the early 2000s led to them being slipped into the Matrix. Even the first Underworld movie was out by the time the Matrix Online video game came out, so that could have contributed to it too. That's my video about the vampires and werewolves from The Matrix. It's one of my favorite movies and trilogies of all time, so I'm glad I finally got the chance to talk about it. If there's any other movies, TV shows, or video games you want me to cover, please leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe for new videos every week. As always, an extra thanks to all my members for supporting the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.